Eden Care UK is a friendly intervention service providing support to people who are terminally ill reaching end of life. We advocate for a high quality of care and enhanced life choices, and challenge the isolation of elderly people through friendship and social activities. This service would not be possible without your support. Please donate edencareuk.com or call 07957 199 328.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম। ও আমার বোনজি, তাইনার আব্বা আম্মা নাই, আমারও তো ঠিক নাই বিয়া দিবার। তাই তোরারে দিবা নে, আমরা দোয়া করবো নি, তোরা সাহায্য করছো।
National Muslim Burial Register was established to support Muslims arrange their final rites. This service caters for Muslims who have no one to carry out their Islamic burial rites upon their death, including funeral planning and burial after their demise. Get in touch for a friendly chat and discuss our eligibility criteria. muslimburialfund.co.uk or call 07957 199 328. National Muslim Burial Register is a service offered.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulillah Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi ashabi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Viewers, we meet again inshallah another episode of Ask the Imam, brought to you by My Ramadan TV, supported by Eden Care UK and Muslim Burial Fund. Alhamdulillah, the Ramadan is almost leaving us, only a few days left. So inshallah, we should really maximize using this Ramadan, only last few days, inshallah. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our siyam, accept our donations, our fastings, our ruku, our tilawa, and every good actions that we done. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to ease the difficulties that some of the Muslims are facing at the moment, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant shifa for those who are unwell, inshallah aziz, amin. Inshallah, I don't want to make any delay. I want to quickly go to our Sheikh, inshallah, today, and we will be talking about Zakat, as this is a fundamental, this is one of the pillars of Islam, and I think is often we take it very lightly. Inshallah, Sheikh today will elaborate how important it is, and inshallah, we take lesson from it. So let's introduce to our Sheikh today, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, Sheikh Abdullah. Hassan, how are you?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, I'm well. Pray you are well.
Alhamdulillah, we are good. The Ramadan is almost leaving us. It's just a few days left, inshallah, Sheikh. How was Ramadan?
Alhamdulillah, we still have a few days. We still have inshallah until Wednesday night. But yeah, he is leaving us very fast. It's been good. It's been a different Ramadan. Last year, obviously, we were in lockdown, complete lockdown. This year, we are in partial lockdown, but not complete lockdown. So it was much better. So we were able to go to Taraweeh, able to go to the mosque, able to move about a little bit more than last year. So it was different, alhamdulillah. Even last year, I liked it, alhamdulillah. You know, as Muslims, you can't complain about this stuff. This happens, and we have to just be patient and that's it, really. But alhamdulillah, it's been good. It's been good.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, that's good. So, Sheikh, inshallah, we touched on briefly last week discussing about zakah. Sheikh Zubair Karim also tried to cover some of the element, inshallah. But if we can resume the topic of zakah, and I know it's so important topic, and I think quite often, many, I'm not going to say vast majority, some people, they take zakah as a zakah very lightly. So inshallah, Sheikh, if you can elaborate slightly more so that viewers can benefit, I can benefit, inshallah.
Okay, Bismillah. I think last time we talked about the wisdoms of zakah, talked about some calculations in terms of who should pay zakah, how do you calculate zakah. There may be some people who are still who have to pay the zakah. As I mentioned last time, and I'm sure everyone is aware, is that everyone should have a zakat date, a date in which they calculate zakat and they pay their zakat. You cannot randomly choose a date. You cannot randomly choose a date and just pay zakat. Oh, it's the 27th night of Ramadan, I'm going to pay zakat there. No, you can't randomly. The same way you can't randomly choose your birthday. You can't randomly choose your zakat day. It's given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we talked about how someone can work out how to find their zakah due date or zakah day. One of the things that there's a lot of talk about zakah, alhamdulillah, right? There's a lot of talk about zakah, well, within our own bubble. Within our own bubble, there are a lot of talk about zakah. But most people, a lot of Muslims, unfortunately, they don't pay the zakah, right? So we have to reach out to those people, educate them about the importance of zakah, about the obligatory nature of zakah, right? So, but we also must not forget that there's zakah, there's sadaqah, there's so many other things in Islam, so many other ways of giving in Islam. Yeah, sadaqah, for example, general, donations, right? In fact, I mentioned this before that many scholars of the past, even now, even now, there are scholars, and you say that those people who only give zakah, they consider to be miser. They consider to be the stingy ones. Meaning that the zakah is the baseline. Zakah is the obligatory, right? Zakah is something that we have to do, right? But we have to do more in terms of giving in charity, giving in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if there are a question, let's take some questions. I don't want to keep on talking. Yeah.
Inshallah, Jazakallah khairan. Yeah, I think so. We talked about just for the nisab, we talked about if anyone got saving just above 370 pounds, then zakah, we need to pay zakah, anything about that. We have some of the clarification that we want to seek, inshallah, Sheikh, today. One other thing is, can zakah be paid to step parents or step children?
Technically, yes, you can. They're not looking after them. They're not under their care, and yes, technically they can. Yes.
Okay. Jazakallah khairan.
If they're not under their care, if they're not under their care, yeah.
Okay, Jazakallah khairan. One of the other question is, charities are collecting zakah behalf of like general Muslims. Now, when they collect zakah, obviously zakah needs to be given to. Zakah is actually due for the poor, for the people in need, for human beings, for they need it. Now, when charity collects zakah, there are some transitions there. Can charity collect zakah on behalf of the ummah? Also, can charity take any cuts, any administrative expense from the zakat, inshallah? I think that's quite important because we also manage a charity as well, and a lot of people actually ask this sort of questions. Do charity take any administration from any zakat or any general donation as such?
Can charities collect zakah? Yes. There's I get why a lot of people who they have a lot of distrust regarding some charities because there has been some funny business happening, abuses are happening. So I get that. As a zakat payer, I get that. I understand that, and I don't blame people for doing that, right? But at the same time, there are people who go to extremes, right? They assume that we don't need any charities, we don't need an institution, we can do it ourselves. No, you can't do it yourself, right? So you have to understand the context. We have to understand the reality. So charities they can, but you need to charities must do more work, right? They must do harder to clarify, be more transparent, in the dealings, in the workplace, in the work streams. But it's perfectly fine to do that. Can the charity charge from zakat percentage? Personally, I say no. I think in terms of zakah, it should be avoided. Sadaqah, I think should you can take 10% for marketing, admin fees, and whatnot.
Okay, Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. It's just a clarity, Sheikh. So when charities collect a vast amount of money in zakah and then they distribute you, of course, there are a lot of costs associated to that. One is, of course, when they receive donation, when they receive zakah, there are costs involved. When they distribute it to whichever country the zakah goes to, there's a distribution cost there as well. So should they not consider taking some kind of administrative...
Before that, look, people, there's a lot of shouting and screaming about taking percentage, right? I think that's unwise, because when a charity takes a percentage, so you donate £1, charity takes 10 pence for admin and for marketing and whatnot, but that 10 pence will go towards a pot that will generate £10.
Absolutely.
Right? And it is very difficult. I know charities, there are some charities, unfortunately, they need to improve. They must improve. Yeah. But at the same time, people don't want to give. So charities, they need to do all sorts of marketing things, all sorts of gimmicks, and to pull their money out. Otherwise, how they're poor going to benefit? So people need to be more wise. People need to educate themselves, and people need to understand that there are so many different complexities, so many different issues that needs to be dealt with, right?
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. One of the other aspect of this, and I think I wanted to take liberty explaining, particularly viewers, that when we ask, I'm also a supporter, I'm also a donor, I'm sure many of us here we support. One must ask, charities go some administrative expenses that charity needs to bear. One of the administrative expense is, like, for instance, the rent, office rent, the technology that they use, the advertising that they use, the distribution cost, that the human resources that they use. So there are a lot of administrative costs involved there. Yes, alhamdulillah, a lot of the charities, they have a vast amount of volunteers, they're dedicated volunteers they help. But there are some administrative costs. A lot of people are working full time for charities, so charity needs to pay them salaries or wages. I'm not saying they pay a huge amount of salary, but whatever necessary. As a result of that, the charity does need to bear that cost from the donation. One of the things I found, Sheikh, was that, and I want to, if I can take 1 minute of your time, inshallah, on that. The way I put it, and I think you actually hit the nail on the spot as well. When charity receive, say, small amount of money from individual, and then they reinvest it. So if charity receive, for instance, £10, and then they actually boost £10 on marketing, in return, potentially they're probably getting 100 to 200 to 500 pounds of that £10 investment. As a result of that, this £10 investment from an individual donor, charity is getting 100 to 200 pounds. Is charity, if you want to balance it out, work it out, as a whole. If you put it into perspective, your 10 pound potentially generated 100 pound, and that's ninefold,
Absolutely.
tenfold of the income the charity generated.
Absolutely.
Alhamdulillah, and I think we are getting reward of that. So I think a lot of charity implement this sort of thing, and then alhamdulillah they try to minimize less general donation for that.
And that's important. I agree, 100%. I agree, and people need to understand that, you know. But at the same time, there are some charities who waste.
Yeah,
I know. There's a lot of waste because some charities have become a kind of what's that word? Kind of
business oriented. Yeah,
ego trip for some people,
yeah.
right? I can name you charities that waste. I can give you.
Let's not do that.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. But people need to use their intelligence and find out, right? Right. Subscribing to this account, that paying 20K, 50K, subscribing to things that you don't need to subscribe with my money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I can write a book on this. Yeah. So I'm not going to blame the public when they have this, but at the same time, I'm going to urge the public to also be a little bit more charitable with some people and some charities. Yeah. And not assume that everyone is the same, and not assume that everyone in that field is out there just to make money for themselves. Right? Now you may say, okay, does that mean there are people who are there to make money for themselves? Maybe. I don't know. Right? But it's become a business for many people. It's become a business. The way even we kind of market things, it's become a business. Right? So, and it's the responsibility of the charities. I blame a lot of the, not all, but some of the charities, right? Because they have the resources, they have the money, they have the time. They need to educate people, and they're not doing that. They're going with the flow. They're going with the wind, as they say. They're going with the status quo. Yeah. So that's problematic. So it's a nuanced issue. It's not black and white. But what I would say, to be slightly nuanced, is that the public have, you know, when they kind of are hesitant, when they are doubtful to give to charities, I don't blame them, because a lot of charities, what they have done is they've lost trust in people. At the same time, the public need to be aware that not everyone is like that. At the same time, it's very, very difficult for charities to, you know, raise funds, because people don't want to give.
Yeah.
I speak to people, answering people's questions about zakat. They don't want to give. Right? It's like the difference between £100 and, you know, they don't want to give £100, and the person has a business that's worth probably 100K, but they don't want to give the extra £100.
Yeah.
By nature, I'm not created as like this. Yeah. So charity needs to understand, the public need to also understand.
Jazakallah. May Allah enable us to understand the concept. May Allah enable us to sort of work. I think as a general public, my only advice to everyone is that I personally would do the same, is inquire, ask the charities what is their governance, how are they governing the whole financial situations, and when they receive funds, how are they managing it. And I think this way they are obliged, and they need to provide some kind of clarification on that. Sheikh, we're going back to Zakat, inshallah. One of the question is on Zakat is, there are certain people cannot receive zakat, and who are these people?
Where can you not use zakat? Yeah. So you cannot give zakat to your parents, if you look after them. You cannot give zakat to your children, your grandchildren, right? You can't give zakat to anyone above, grandfather, great grandfather, or anyone below, right? You can give zakat to your sisters, your brothers, your cousins, your uncles, aunties, as long as they are poor, But you can't use zakat to build mosques. You can't use zakat to buy Qur'ans. You can't use zakat to build hospitals. You can't. Zakat cannot be used for causes. Zakat is for people. Yeah, like you can't use zakat for da'wah. You can't use zakat for building a school. Although these are good projects, they are good causes. But zakat is not for causes. Zakat is for the poor people. You give your zakat directly to the poor and the needy. You should give sadaqah for other things. You should give more sadaqah than zakat. So this is the capitalist mentality that we have. We don't want to give. We should give zakat, but give more in sadaqah throughout the year. Why just stop at zakat? Do you think that zakat is enough for you to gain paradise? No. You have to give zakat as well as give more, inshallah. So those are the places and people that you can't give zakat to.
Jazakallah khairan. You mentioned and you touched on zakah is not used for causes. Zakah is for human beings, their well-being. We often see zakah used for humans' benefit, like for instance, water well, orphans' homes, things like that. Can this be used?
No, you can't. You can't. When it comes to zakat, you have to transfer ownership to a individual. You can't transfer ownership to a building, a mosque, right? You have to transfer ownership. In some places, right? In some places, when it comes to the principle of darura, right? When it comes to principle of necessity, then perhaps that you don't have any other, you don't have sadaqah, you have to use zakat, then yes. That's in when there is darura. Does that make sense? Yeah. When you have looked at all other avenues, sadaqah, and you can't, do anything without using zakat, then yes. Then it's perfectly fine. And it's needed in that place, then it's perfectly fine. For example, water well, yeah? Water well, you can't use zakat normally. There are charities who raise for water well, don't give it. Your zakat will not be accepted. But how can it be if the water is scarce in a village and there's no other way of raising that fund, zakat needs to be used, then there's a way of doing it. Then and if only the poor will use it, then it's fine. Otherwise, it's not. Now, people must say there are different opinions. Well, there are different opinions. Yeah, there are, but what is the most safest opinion? I'm giving you the most safest and the majority opinion. I'm giving the most safest and the 99% majority opinion. Right? If you want to go and take a minority opinion because it suits you, that's up to you. Right? But I'm giving the most majority and the most safe and the most authentic opinion according to the majority of scholars. Yeah.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. We're coming to end of Ramadan, and we need to really expiate, and we need to pay zakatul fitr. We do establish that obviously various masajid, they basically said it's about £5 per person. Now again, how
it's not, sorry, there's another, again, it's basically one sa, yeah, of wheat or barley, even dates, raisins. What was the stipend of the time or during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? The Hanafi position is that you can give equivalent in money. So about 3 kilos, about wheat or barley, probably about £5 or £7, like that, right? This is how some scholars, I think, worked it out. But what people tend to do now, because we live in the UK, right? Now, £6. Now the question is, do I go when I pay my zakat, or when I pay my zakat al-fitr? Yeah. Do I go by the situation in my country or another country? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because £10 in Bangladesh, for example, is it can be a lot of money. You can have a good meal with what's £10 in Bangladesh?
It's probably about 1,000 taka.
You can probably feed a whole family for a week, right?
Probably.
I don't know. Probably, or at least a couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fine. The question is, do I give, what according to the measurement of Bangladesh, or do I give according to the measurement of the UK? That's one thing. The other thing is that we can't forget, like the Prophet also gave dates, and the prices of dates are different. Yeah, the prices of dates are different. Ajwa, their dates are quite expensive, right?
That's right.
But Ajwa is, and other, I don't know, 1 kilo for about £8 I bought the other day, right? 1 kilo about £8, right? Can you imagine if you had 3 kilos, or about 12 pounds? It was 12 pounds, sorry, from a shop. But 1 kilo about 12 pounds, yeah. Times that by 3,
that's £36.
yeah. So if you go by the dates and you go by according to what you can afford, that's the opinion that I advocate. What you can afford, then if you earn, right, if you earn an average salary in the UK, 25, 30K, 35K, you have a house, you're not rich, but you're not just surviving, you're okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If £5, that's been stingy. But obviously, if you're paying for others, then that's something different. Yeah. So we have to consider that, right? We have to consider that. So a person, like, imagine a millionaire giving £5. No. Islam is wise. Islam, wants to benefit the humankind. Now, a millionaire giving £5 of Zakat al-Fitr, is that conceivable? No. Is that, or billionaire giving £5? You and I mean, me, I'm a poor person. £5 is, for my whole family, it's a lot. It's a lot for me. Yeah. But someone who's earning what, 70K, 800, 100K, who's got 2-3 houses, give £5? Yeah. No, you give according to your state, and you choose, right? Because it's not just wheat or barley, raisins, dates, flour, and they vary, right? Now, if you go by dates, 3 kilo, what, £36? If it can be more, that's £50, right? And give and give more, So if you give a person £5 in the UK, what can you do with £5?
Just one meal.
Potentially,
Yeah.
one meal. Yeah. If you want to have a good meal, decent food, about £10 with a drink.
That's right.
Right? Water, right? About £10 minimum. Yeah. Right. Now you want to feed him for the whole day. You want to feed that person for the whole day, eat days, whole day.
Yeah.
Right. So £10, £10, £30, and you give £5, and that's the I kind of like blame some of the charities. It's become a market, right? It's like, one charity says we can do Qurbani with £10, as an example. Yeah. Another charity comes, no, we can do Qurbani with £8.
Competition there.
Believe that, and they go. Remember, the cheapest is not the best. You put yourself in that situation. What can you do with £5 in a day? What can you do with £5 in a day? They have to buy their clothes. Yeah. Can you buy your clothes for £5? Can you buy, the food and the drinks for £5 for the whole day? I would say go give not one meal, give it the whole day. You should give it the whole day. So this whole way of doing charity is just nonsensical. It's become like we're losing the meaning of sadaqah. We're losing the meaning of zakat. We're losing the meaning of zakat al-fitr. Do you see the problem in that? Long-term problem. And the blame lies in the charity. They need to do more to improve that. Educate. Yeah.
Well, one of the things there, Sheikh, is when actually establish how much is Zakatul Fitr is. It's not that the charity that they actually establish and they say it. They actually ask ulama, and the ulama actually make an opinion on that. Ulama basically, I think they measure it like some kind of wheat, and then they're thinking of a poor country like some underdeveloped countries.
The thing is with the ulama, right? There are different opinions.
Yeah.
What the charities do, they'll look for and they will pay for the opinions that they want. Not all. Do you see? Right?
Yeah.
So you have to be authentic and genuine in what you want to do. If I want to, like, for example, as an example, maybe this is exaggeration, yeah. If I want to say that riba is, interest is allowed, yeah, I can go and fund a scholar, and I can get, essentially find a scholar that has an opinion that riba, interest is not riba. Does that make sense? I mean, that's his opinion. That can be his opinion. But what I'm saying, I, as an organization, a person, right, can find that in a fatwa shopping. You see my point? Yeah.
And
But I'm
we
saying,
Sheikh Google there as well.
But the scholars, they will give the opinion. The scholars, they give the opinion. But you have to look at the long-term effects of that. And the scholars also, what I mean? That's because some scholars say, yeah, and they, it's fine. Just because someone wears a pagri and a turban and a long beard, it doesn't mean they're the most knowledgeable people. That's why the public, you need to educate yourself, right? The public need to educate themselves about these issues. Then they will not be able, scholars will not be able to fool them. Because there are some scholars who fool the lay people, who fool them. And so people need to become experts, but need to be literate on a basic level, so that a Molvi or Mufti or Imam or scholar doesn't say something and then they say, "Oh, it's amazing you said it. It's wahi now." No, you have to give that respect. Yes, the respect you have to give. But there are people who just take it, without question.
Okay, shukran. Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. Just moving on Zakatul Fitr, I think that's relevant. Assuming whatever the establishment, whatever the local masjid that whoever they are, they establish whatever amount it is. My understanding is Zakatul Fitr is given, is a wajib on every single person that they need to pay. How can they pay? Should they pay for everybody, and then who should receive Zakatul Fitr?
The father of the household should try to pay on behalf of everyone, even the children. Underage children, he needs to pay for everyone. Yeah, he needs to pay for everyone.
Recently, Sheikh, and it's just coming to my mind slightly. I've listened a talk, and one of the Imam basically was saying, Zakatul Fitr, even a poor person needs to give. Now, how can it's all the living people? How can they pay? How can they pay if they have any the understanding of the nisab amount?
A person whose zakatable asset is below nisab, they don't have to give zakatul fitr.
Yeah.
Yeah. That we discussed about the nisab.
Yeah.
If it's below the nisab, they don't have to give zakatul fitr.
So I think that. Yes, sorry, sir. I think the Imam was saying, so if somebody, for instance, receive say X amount of money on their zakat on just before the Eid prayer, and if they have certain amount of money above the nisab, even a person, even a poor person received it, but if they got certain amount of money, what should they do?
Technically, if they receive that certain amount of money, technically for that moment they're not poor anymore. Technically,
but they're receiving zakat.
So, for example, so if I give, so the discussion among scholars, how much of zakah can one person receive?
Okay, that's an interesting one. Yes.
Yeah. So some scholars say that 200 dirham, for example, was equivalent. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Other scholars say no, you should give a person, right, so that it is kafi, is sufficient for the whole year. So if you just give 200, if you give this small amount, then the person will come back to you again. But if you give a large amount, then that person will be, will not come back to you for at least a year, or a person will use that money to become sustainable, or his project, whatever, right? He'll sustain himself. So there's a difference of opinion among the scholars.
I just want to clarify one thing, Sheikh here. So say, for instance, somebody poor, and then say, I gave some zakah, my zakah to that person, and the next person, same person receiving zakah from various different people, and their wealth, their accumulation amount is slightly more than the nisab amount. What should they do?
If they what? Sorry, can you get that?
Whatever zakah they receive zakah from various different people, not from one person. So they receive, one individual receives zakah from, say, 10 different people. So the amount of money they received, or whatever goods they received,
is huge, and they become now what they are rich. Now, if it's when the zakat day comes, if they still have the money, they have to pay zakat.
Subhanallah. Yeah. Of course, see, this is one of the things, Sheikh, I learned. Many people don't understand this thing. Those people who are receiving, they only just receive and receive and receive. They don't consider giving something back.
I mean, most people who receive don't have enough left over to give back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
So the question you ask, in a way, is hypothetical. So if there are people who have a lot of avenues of receiving zakat and they have enough, and at the zakat day they have enough, then obviously they have to pay zakat. But that's a rare situation, as far as I know, because people are poor. You give them some money and they will, spend it on the family, spend it on themselves, and they won't have anything really left over to give to others.
Yeah. Understand. Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. That's very, very important clarification. Jazakallah khairan. Sheikh, just before we conclude, we're going to conclude, inshallah, a minute or two. We have last few days of Ramadan. Just a word of wisdom, word of advice, inshallah, for viewers to sort of practice, inshallah.
Yes, I think take benefit. We still have one odd night left. So I mean, those who started Ramadan one day late, today is their 27th night. Tonight is the 27th night. For those who started on a Tuesday, there's one more odd night, 29th night. So tomorrow night is the night of the 29th. So it has a number of scholars said 29th night is the Laylatul Qadr. So there's again another high potentiality that 29th night can be Laylatul Qadr. So take benefit, go to Tarawih, take benefit, make dua, right? Utilize that time to the best of your ability to seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to prepare psychologically, spiritually for the year to come, inshallah, right? Recite the Quran, make dua, do istighfar, keep a lot of istighfar is really, really important, really important. And even though there are people who may not have kind of done much in the last 26 days, or even the last 7 days in the month of last 10 nights, still not too late, right? It's still not too late. You still have a chance to do the good deeds, recite the Quran, go to Tarawih, and do all the other things that we are recommended to in the month of Ramadan. So it's not too late. Even if there's 1 day left, do it. Don't think, I'm going to wait another year. You may not wait. You may not have another year. Do it. Seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't waste a moment. But don't think that you will, I'm going to do it next year. I'm going to plan it. I'm going to take time off from work and whatnot. It doesn't come. It doesn't come. Yeah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless everyone and guide everyone us steadfast upon his tawheed and upon the way of his beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh, for your time, inshallah. Viewers, we're going to conclude the program today, inshallah. We are back on Tuesday as well. Until then, inshallah, please share the link so that other people benefit from the discussion today. And also, please do like it, and please support the wonderful work the charity is doing, providing end-of-life support and burial support for most people in need. They're dying and they don't have financial means to bury them, and the burial cost, in particularly UK, is really, really expensive. For some family, is really a burdensome. So inshallah, collectively, inshallah, we can collect some funds, and we can bury one of our brother and sister, inshallah, in an Islamic way. Until then, inshallah, viewers, I'll see you on Tuesday. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.